Hearing him mutter, "Oh my God," when he saw what I had done.
I want you to all imagine having your first child. You're so excited, right? Like, it's going to be a little boy, and what will he do? Will he play sports? Will he be an artist? Will he be a singer? You have all of these plans for your precious baby boy, but you never imagine that this baby boy is a psychopath and will grow up and at the age of 13 destroy your life and your whole family's life. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the case of Paris Bennett. Yes. Before we get into it, though, I do want to let you guys know that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody, everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance on hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. You guys, when I tell y'all this is another incredibly fascinating case, in my opinion. It's so hard to say that about these true crime cases, and some of y'all that love true crime, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you know that there is a lot of sadness, and there's sometimes scariness, and sometimes even evilness that goes on in these true crime cases. But it's like it's fascinating. In this case, this is going to be the case of a precious little 13-year-old boy who was perfect his whole entire life, never got in trouble, super smart, super artistic, and then he just snaps at 13. Yes, but before we get into it, though, if you guys don't already know me, hi, my name is Christina. I do have a second channel, which is Casually Christina. We do things more casually over there, vlogs, reviews, random stuff like that. I also have a Patreon. My Patreon is for 18 and up. Over there, I do way more personal story times, things that just aren't good for YouTube. We go live over there. It's a really good time if you're 18 and up and you would like to join. I also have a podcast. You guys check out the new podcast. It is not for the easily offended. I will tell you guys that. So be careful with that one. And then I also have an Instagram. All of those are always linked down in the description box if you want to come and check me out. So my plan for this video is I'm going to be telling you guys the story of Paris, the 13-year-old little boy who snapped. We'll just say that for now, not to spoil it too much for you. We're going to be talking about his mother, Charity, and his little sister, Ella. Charity Bennett grew up as what she would describe as a very privileged life. Her mom had plenty of money. She always went to private schools. They lived on big pieces of property. They lived in country clubs. She had anything she could ever want and dream of. But at the age of 6 years old, Charity's mom was arrested for the murder of Charity's dad. Now, murder for hire was actually what it was. Now, Charity's mom spent 6 weeks in jail, went on trial, and was eventually acquitted of all charges. But Charity grew up never knowing her dad. She didn't feel like she missed too much. Like I said, she lived a very, very privileged life. She grew up with horses all around her and nice vehicles and fancy food and just had it all. Or did she? Her mom was married a total of 7 times. So Charity grew up feeling like her mom just kind of made her second or third place in life. Charity's mom describes it as, Charity was just upset because I had my own life too. That yes, I was a mother, but I also had my own life. Well, Charity grew up feeling like she was not super important to her mom. She got older, she didn't have a real tight relationship with her mom, and that she wasn't her mom's main priority. Her mom had her own life, her own relationships, her businesses that all came first. So Charity vowed to herself that when she had kids one day, that she would never make them feel the way that she felt. And boy, do I know that feeling that Charity had. All right, so we'll fast forward. Charity was super smart. She even skipped the 10th grade and ended up graduating with honors early. But at the age of 17, she got hooked up with some friends and went down a path of addiction. She started shooting up heroin and just really lost herself. She went from graduating with honors, skipping grades, to being a full-blown addict. At the age of 18, she became pregnant with her first child, Paris, the precious little boy that she never knew that she needed. Because of her love for Paris, she decided to get clean. She wanted to be this mom that she had never had. She felt him grow inside of her. She did baby showers. She picked out his name, Paris. And when he was born, he was the most beautiful thing she had ever set her eyes on. This was the missing piece of her heart that she needed her whole life. She watched him grow up. She helped him to walk. She fed him. She loved him. She taught him. And before long, everybody could see that Paris was different. He was incredibly smart, incredibly artistic, like he was a genius child. And as he continued to grow and Charity continued to raise him, she was just head over heels in love with her baby boy. Charity said that Paris saved her life, and that one day when he was old enough, she was going to tell him how he saved her life. When Paris was 8 years old, Charity became pregnant with her second child, and it was a little girl, Ella. She was so excited. She's going to have this little girl. She comes to Paris. It had always been just Charity and Paris at this point, and tells him, but Paris didn't take it too well. He was actually quite jealous and frustrated, which is a normal thing for some kids, right? Some kids, when it's just, the mom and the child, for 8 years, 8+ years, and then now another child is going to come into the picture. Some kids are jealous at first. I mean, that can be normal, right? But Paris did not speak and would not acknowledge his mother's pregnancy, her whole entire pregnancy. Of course, Charity continued to work with her son and was just hoping that he would come around. When Charity had her baby girl, Ella, the moment that Paris saw Ella, he held her and he looked at her and he looked at his mom and he said, "Mom, she is so beautiful." And Charity's heart just finally melted. She was like, okay, thank God. Like, he loves his baby sister. We're going to be one big happy family and everything is going to be great. As time went on, Charity described Ella as like very, very outgoing, very like in your face, a bossy little girl, wanted to put on a performance, loved to sing, loved to dance, loved to wear her little cowboy boots, and had a really big personality. Charity said that Paris was the best big brother. She even said that it was so crazy. Sometimes you expect siblings are going to fight, right? The annoying little sister vibe. I know Jaden, my baby, is definitely the king of the annoying little brother to his big brother. You just don't even understand. But she said that wasn't the case with Paris and Ella. Like, he was the best big brother. He always made sure to take time to play with her and do stuff with her. And he picked out her clothes for her. Ella called her big brother Paris her fashion designer. Like, they were so tight. They never fought. It was the perfect relationship. So what happened? On February 4th of 2007, Paris, who at this point is now 13 years old and precious baby Ella is 4 years old, are at home with the babysitter while their mom, Charity, is at work. She was working at, I believe, Buffalo Wild Wings. It was Super Bowl Sunday, and Charity said she hated football. Listen, when I used to wait tables, we used to love that. That's when you make the money, okay? That, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, y'all know. Okay, keep going. So she was probably there. It was probably packed out. Wings, football, loudness, beer, money, going all over the place, whatever, right? And her kids are at home with the sitter. The next thing you know, while Charity is at work, the cops show up. They take her into the office and they tell her, "Charity, your daughter Ella has been hurt." That is not the words any mother or father wants to hear, ever. She immediately starts rushing and says, "Okay, take me to her. We have to go to her right now. This is my baby. I have to go." And they say, No, calm down, wait. Ella's dead. She freezes and she's like, "Dead? Where's Paris? Take me to Paris. Where's Paris?" They said, wait. We have Paris. And she was like, okay, well, take me to him. Like, she's trying to like, come, like, what's that? What happened? And the police officers told her, Paris killed Ella. And she said in that moment, everything quit making sense. What do you mean? Paris, my 13-year-old son, killed my 4-year-old daughter. Any mother, we're going to start thinking like, what? Like, it had to be an accident. Like, what happened? Like, where was the babysitter? What was this? Charity said in those moments, the investigators started to treat her more like a suspect, which is actually pretty normal from what I've seen in all of these cases. It's not the feeling that you want to have as a mother when they're telling you this, but when a cop goes to anybody's house or situation and there's a child has murdered a child, of course they're going to want to know what happened. Was there abuse? Was this planned? Like, because this is not a normal thing. So while she's trying to process what the investigators and the cops are telling her, she is also being questioned at the same time. Come to find out, what had happened was 13-year-old Paris, who, by the way, when I told y'all earlier in the video that this kid was smart, he was a genius, at 13 years old, he was tested and had an IQ of 142, okay? That is like a genius level for an adult, much less a 13-year-old child. 13-year-old Paris stabbed his sister in the bed 17 times. And then he called 911. Let me play the 911 call for you guys.
I accidentally killed somebody.
You think you killed somebody?
No, I know I did. I feel so messed up.
Is she breathing right now?
No. And I was hallucinating.
You were hallucinating?
Yes, and I thought my sister was a demon and I killed her.
I want you to start CPR, okay? What I want you to do is take her off the bed.
No, I know for a fact that she's dead because
Do you want to go ahead and try? It might still help, okay?
No, I don't think it'll help because...
Come on, Paris, work with me.
I know I stabbed her lots of times.
Okay, Paris,
Yes?
take her off the bed and put her on the floor.
Okay, hold on. Please don't hang up.
I'm not hanging up on you.
I thought she was a demon.
Okay.
Okay, she's on the floor, but I can't stay here because she's all bloody and
Paris,
stuff.
what I want you to do is I want you to put your hands on her chest, okay? And I want you to push 30 times. I want you to count.
Okay.
All the way to 30, and then blow 2 breaths in her mouth, okay?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
When the cops showed up, they found Ella on the floor, face down. As they investigated more and they took Paris into custody, they realized that Ella had been more than just stabbed. She'd actually been beaten and strangled. She had a contusion, I think that's how you say it, on her head. That was strangle marks and the 17 stab wounds. That's all they knew of as of yet. They take Paris, he's in custody. Later at 6 o'clock the next morning, they allowed Charity back to the home. And she was begging, like, please, can I just see Ella? Can I see her? Can I see her? The investigators took her to the body bag, unzipped it enough where she could just see her head. Oh, I got chills all over, you guys. And she just started screaming when she saw her baby girl's head and saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I wasn't there to protect you. She dropped to her knees. She was crying. She was losing her mind. After they zipped her up and took Ella's body away, she wanted to see her son. A mother's love, right? Unconditional love. Y'all hold that thought. She was not able to see her son until way later that evening. It was almost 24 hours later. She wanted to see her precious baby boy, the loving child that she'd always known. The 13-year-old little boy that was so artistic and so smart and had his friends at the skate park and was such a big help to her. When they took her into the room in the juvenile detention center, he was sitting in a chair way in the corner in the back of the room. They opened the door, buzz, click. He's in an all orange jumpsuit. her 13-year-old baby boy, and she's trying to make sense of this, like something had to have happened. She runs into the room when she sees him. She grabs him, she hugs him, and he stands there cold. He does not hug her back. She's thinking, okay, he must be worried. He must be this. He must be that. He's, whatever. She's trying to talk to him, but her son is not being himself. She said his eyes were different. He looked completely different than her son. He acted like he was mad at her. Later on, Charity said as she continued to work with him, not the same night, but different times, he just was not the same Paris that she had known before. He had been evaluated by a psychologist or a therapist while he was in there, while he was in the juvenile detention center waiting for all of this. And while she's being investigated, of course, she's being investigated. That's what they do. They always investigate the family. The therapist told her, I hate to tell you this, Charity, but your son is a narcissist and a psychopath. She's like, a psychopath? What? And he said a sociopath, psychopath. Yeah, she's like, what? You're not my son. No way. And he showed her. He was showing her the paperwork. Now, Charity goes back to see her son in the juvenile detention center, and he's sitting across from her just staring at her. And she's like, basically at this point, she's changed her tone, like, tell me what happened. Tell me what you did to your sister. And he's not speaking, and she's like telling him, and he's just looking at her with these dark eyes. And she said he slammed his hands on the table. This is a 13-year-old boy, right? And he looks at her and he said, shut up. And she was taken back. She had never heard her son talk like that, never seen him look like that. She said the color in his eyes all turned black. And he said, you are all so stupid. You have all been so stupid this whole time. None of you knew the real me. None of you knew who I really was this whole time. And then he laughed in his mother's face. Oh my gosh. Could you guys imagine your baby boy, like your child? Some of y'all are mothers and fathers out there. She had seen him be this whole child, this whole time, this 13 years, this happy, Of course he did things. Of course he got in trouble. Of course he had attitudes. Of course he had, moments and said little things. He was a normal kid, but nothing that she and then he tells her, shut up. Y'all are all so effing stupid. Like, are you kidding me? You guys. She said that's when she saw the real son. The mask had slipped. And any of y'all that have ever been involved with, fell in love with, had a friend or a family member that is a narcissist or a sociopath, you know what it's like when that mask slips. It's scary. It is very, very scary, and typically not something you can just walk away from. Thank God in Charity's case and in this case, he was already incarcerated, even at only 13, when his mask slipped in front of his mom, because it could have been very dangerous. Now, I do want to say real quick, and I will talk more in the end, that not all sociopaths, not all psychopaths are killers or violent, but in this case, and in a lot of cases, they are. Okay, we'll keep going. At this point, her son is in juvenile detention center, obviously, and he doesn't even want to talk to her. She said for like a long time, she would go up there to visit him every single day at 5:30, and the guards would turn her away and say he didn't want to talk to her. So now you guys got to remember, now this is a mother that has gone from having this perfect little life with this great big brother that she had spent 8 years with, spending all this time with, Her daughter is, gone, and she's under investigation. She said that she was literally having to go into the defense attorney's office to talk about her son, right? To talk to them about her son. And then she would have to go into the prosecution office to talk about her daughter. She was having to be a mom in the same trial to two different people, you guys. And at the same time, she is being investigated this woman was going through the unimaginable. Her son is not wanting to talk to her, and she's just trying to make sense still of everything. She said as time went on, the investigators would tell her a little bit more and a little bit more about what they found out about that night. Y'all remember that phone call I let y'all listen to, right? The investigators told her after they were through investigating her and making sure he wasn't abused and that what actually happened that night was 13-year-old Paris talked his babysitter into leaving early. His babysitter left, and we'll get there later. Talked his babysitter into leaving at about 9:30, somewhere around there. And what they found was Paris had been watching hours of BDSM and prawn. You guys know what I'm talking about? But very, very, very violent stuff. And BDSM community, do not come for me. This is not a personal attack on y'all. You know, as long as you're not hurting anybody, go off, do your thing, whatever. But in this case, this situation happened, and it does not mean that all people, I guess, that watch that, whatever. You guys know what I mean. Okay, love you guys. Love everybody. Anyways. So, but that he was also watching hours and hours and hours of snuff films. I hope I can say that word on here because I've never even heard of this before. If you guys don't know what that is, you're not alone. I had to ask my husband what it was, and he didn't know what it was, so I had to look it up. Those type of films are actually the prawn films, but that are with murder in them. So he was watching hours of this murderous prawn. They also said that they found personal DNA from the little boy on the baby girl Ella's mattress and on her. So the cops were putting things together that he was watching these videos and needed to fulfill this need in him. And you guys probably know the rest. And that he beat his 4-year-old little sister. He couldn't get her out like that, couldn't get her out by choking. And so he stabbed her 17 times. And they said when they were interviewing Paris, he said that it felt like stabbing a pillow or a marshmallow or a mattress. And that when he would put the knife in, he was pulling it out very slowly. Remember when you guys heard that recording of him calling 911? Investigators also found out that after he did that to his sister, he actually called his friend and talked to his friend for 6 minutes before he called 911. Just talking to his friend. Told his friend, hey, I did something. I think my mom's going to be mad at me. Then he calls 911. He works up this story. I was hallucinating. You know, I thought she was a demon. He works the story up. And as they're telling him to do CPR on his sister, he put her on the floor face down. And he was really actually just walking around and going 1, 2. He was never even doing CPR on her. It was all an act. You guys, what 13-year-old child even thinks of, like, what adult can even think of these ideas? Like, it's unimaginable, but this is your child, your children. So the mother hearing this is she realizes at this point that her child has been manipulating her all this time. And the investigators have been telling her, and the psychologists have been telling her, and the therapists and the psychiatrists and all that have been telling her, listen, one of his psychiatrists told her, you need to quit spending all this money coming up here and visiting him and lawyers' fees and all this, and you need to take all of that money and change your identity and move away. So whenever he gets out one day, he can't find you. And she's thinking, this is my son. This is the son that I had promised when I was pregnant that I would never make him feel the way that I felt. You guys, it's wild, unbelievable. Paris ends up getting sentenced to 40 years in prison. It was the max that they could give him at that age of 13. He is scheduled to be, he is an adult now because this happened in 2007. He is scheduled to be up for parole in 2027, so in 7 years. Now let's talk about some fun facts. So he did get sentenced. Charity has spent She has dedicated her life. She even made a foundation called the Ella Foundation. Of course, I will leave that link down below. You guys go check it out. She decided that she never wanted her daughter to be forgotten. I have so much, like, what this woman has been through. Has she made every decision the right way? No, probably not. If she is anything like me as a mother, and as most of y'all, I know we got the perfect moms and dads out there. I'm not talking to y'all. Y'all got it all together. But for all of us moms and dads that are trying our best, but knowing that we're not perfect, like, I just, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine all of this that she's gone through. And her baby girl, I mean, of course, she lost her life. There's, I don't want to not talk about her. I just don't know how to talk about her, you guys, to be honest. So when her son, who she does still go and see and talks to, okay, which is a lot of people disagree with. They think it's crazy. They think, but this is, now if you guys are following me on my Instagram, you guys know I asked y'all if love is conditional or unconditional. A lot of you guys said it is conditional unless it is your child. What would y'all do in this situation? Would you continue? You don't have to give me a whole story unless you want to, but would you still visit your child? Would you still go and see him, knowing not only that he did this, but that he is a psychopath, he is a manipulator, he's a narcissist, he wears a mask, and you don't know if you're talking to the real person or the person they're pretending to be at the time? That's a question for you guys. Now, remember how I told y'all when he was younger that the psychologists and stuff, they were doing the test on him and they found out, they said he was a sociopath, psychopath, Well, when those started coming out, Paris shut down. He regressed. He has not done any evaluation since he was a kid. He does not want to be evaluated. He was even offered a chance to be put in one of those machines, I can't remember what it's called, where they would scan his brain and actually tell what his brain is, and he refused to do it. And it was so crazy because when I was watching that, now you guys, I've watched the documentary. I'll leave the documentary down below. I've watched interviews. Her book, I'll leave the book link down below too. I've listened to her book on tape. Like, I have gone deep into this. If you guys watch the documentary leaves so much out, you guys, so much out. So if you've only seen the documentary, you probably don't know most of the stuff I'm telling you guys about. I've had to dig and listen to her and all of this stuff, which I'm thankful for. I'm not saying I had to listen, whatever. But when I saw that they were doing these and they offered him the chance to have his brain scanned, I'm thinking like, man, I want to do that. Like, wouldn't that be cool to like go lay in this thing and like have them scan your brain and tell you like what is wrong, like what trigger, like is where the depression is, where this is, and how much you have of it. Like, I would think that was awesome, but he refused. He does not want them looking at his brain. He has said since he's been in there, and there's been plenty of interviews. You guys can find them on YouTube. They're very short. I wish that they were longer. He's very calculated and well put together now. Now, there's some times that I look at him and I feel empathy for him. And then there's other times that I look at him when I'm watching it and I don't know if it's the mask or not. He told his mother, Mom, because he's never even really cried about the whole like Ella thing or like, been upset. You would think that this would be something that would haunt you or whatever, but he told his mom at one point, he said, Mom, that drawer that I have in my brain that I go to that is Ella, and I open it and there should be grief and there should be sadness and there should be remorse and regret. When I open that drawer for Ella, it's empty. Like, you guys, I don't know, like me, if I say something that hurts somebody's feelings and I know it hurt them, I think about it over and over and over and over again and beat myself up for it for days. Like if I think I said something, you guys, do any of you guys do that? Like if you're having a conversation and you leave the conversation, you're like, oh my gosh, I hope they didn't take this in that way. Like that, I didn't, you're thinking about like, I just, I can't comprehend the mind of a sociopath or a psychopath. It is fascinating, but it's also scary. And again, like I said, there's sociopaths and psychopaths watching this video right now. Not all of them are violent. Not all of them will hurt you. My brain doesn't quite understand. It's fascinating to me, but my brain doesn't understand your brain, and your brain doesn't really understand mine, because I am a very empathetic person. Like, so you tell me your story and I'm gonna be thinking about it for the next month, probably crying, praying, and all that stuff. I take on my empaths out there, you know what I mean. So in one of the interviews with Paris, the interviewer asked him, do you know what love is? Tell me what love is. Because they say that, sociopaths, they can't feel love. If any of my sociopaths out there that are watching this want to comment down below and let me know how that, whatever, if you want to, I would love it. It's fascinating to me. But anyways, and he said this.
It's not simple, so I can't just point at something and say, okay, that's love. I recognize it easily, and I feel that.
And that was so interesting to me, because if you ask me what love is, I feel like I can tell you guys what love is. I feel like I can tell you, it's how I feel about my child, my husband. To me, love is loving another, like doing anything for somebody else that you can to, like thinking about that person, putting that person's needs before your own, not wants, but needs before your own. Love is action, but love is also a feeling. Love can be butterflies. Love can be, the feeling of love comes in so many different forms. When I look at my son while he's sleeping, the tears that whelp up in my eyes and the warmth that comes all in my heart, that is a feeling of, you got the way I look at my dogs when they're sleeping. Like, I love them so much. You know what I mean? Like, I could go on and on and on about love. And the fact that he said he couldn't put it into words was interesting to me. I mean, you guys, but then later on in another interview, he says, they ask him how he feels about his sister Ella, and he goes, I love her with every fiber of my being. But you, in another word, said you didn't know. So it's so fascinating to me. I don't understand it, but it's interesting. Another time, Charity was talking to Paris, and she was just trying to make sense of things. And she goes, Paris, why didn't you, you could have killed an animal. Like, we have cats and dogs and animals. Like, why didn't you, if you needed to kill something, why didn't you kill the animals instead of your sister? And he goes, I would never hurt our animals. I love our animals. Like, but you killed your sister. Like, oh my gosh, it's crazy to think about as a mother, to hear these things coming from your precious baby boy. Now, I could go on. I have so many notes about this. We are going to be recording a podcast on this. I have so many notes. I could go on and on. This video would be an hour long. So if you guys want to hear more of my opinions and different things that I learned from all of the interviews and the books and all that stuff, make sure you go and subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss it when it comes out. But I want to end this on this. All of my mothers and fathers out there, and even if you're not, if you're dog owners, pet owners, is love conditional? Yes, even to your children. Would you go and visit your child? Would you still be there? Now, Charity has said when he gets out, she will not be around him and she will not let him know where she's at, because she's terrified of her son. She loves him because he's her son, but she's terrified of him. So what would you do? What would you do? And I also want to say, for people that don't know what love feels like, when I watched interviews with Paris, although I know what he did, I know what he's still capable of, he still talks about the darkness that is inside of him. It breaks my heart to know that there are people out there that do not know what love feels like. They can't feel it, even if people are loving them. I mean, I know me growing up as a child, I definitely, whatever you guys know, I didn't feel love in that way, but I had the ability to, and I loved, but to be a person that cannot really feel it and experience it, how sad is that? Love is like the most amazing feeling in the world. It's so sad. It's really, really sad. So, all right, you guys, have you heard about this? If you want to know more, check out some links down below. What do you think? What do you think? You guys know. I want to know. I want to know. I'm going to be reading comments. I'm going to be responding. I cannot wait to hear y'all's take on this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, my loves. As always, please do not forget to like it. It's a free way that you can help your girl out. And until next time, I love you guys so, so, so very much. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Bye, guys.